Zero2One Spring Demo Day event. Um, First of all, we'd like to thank our esteemed guests and advisors and our alumnus for taking the time out of your day to attend our event and provide your expert guidance and feedback, ultimately encouraging the growth of the entrepreneurship community on campus. And we hope that our ventures can utilize today to your benefit. So my name is Aditya, and I'm part of the outreach committee. Today, we're excited to bring you our ventures who've been working hard at perfecting their pitches and refining their ideas the past couple of weeks. Each venture is at different stages of growth, but given the restrictions of this pandemic, it's been a difficult semester for everyone. Hence, this will be a rare opportunity to showcase their pitching skills and ideas, as well as receive feedback and suggestions to further develop their ventures, hopefully kickstarting a new and successful year. So I'd like to pass it on to Tina to introduce our first venture.
Hi, everyone. This is Tina. Let's move on to our venture pitches. So without further ado, let's start with Marjorie's venture. Marjorie's venture is about a college mentorship program for high school students. Marjorie, if you want to take it from here.
Thank you, Tina. Oh, it says I can't screen share. Okay.
Hold on, I can do that for you. It says all participants should be able to share screen.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay. Hopelessness and inferiority. Words that hit way too close to home. It's no secret that growing up in a low-income community on the south side of Chicago, I found myself constantly reminded of the line that drew between me and others with more favorable surroundings. It's also no secret that my experiences became shaped by the norm of my community. A norm that had led me to go from a 4.0 student to failing all of my classes in my freshman year of high school. A norm that resulted in one of my closest friends losing their life to gun violence and many others dropping out or getting caught up in drug abuse. This was a norm I eventually learned how to defy. Nevertheless, the circumstances I found myself faced with at such a young age impacted my life in a way where I've now become an advocate for youth and ending generational poverty. The reason why so many youth are put in similar situations to those that I was once in, or even worse, is due to systemic and growing inequity, which manifests as gaps in opportunity. Specifically, young racial or ethnic minority students and under-resourced communities are disproportionately affected by an extreme lack of access to high-quality educational and mental health resources and sustained connections with caring adults. All of this leaves youth much more vulnerable to academic failure, getting involved in serious risk behaviors, and many other difficulties growing up. So that's why I want to prioritize the reach of racial and ethnic minority high school students, specifically from these under-resourced communities. And many students from these areas have expressed that they need and want support now more than ever. So from firsthand experiences to gaining insight from what current students are saying, I've been inspired to create Lotuscend, a nonprofit organization that seeks to empower students by offering them an outlet for their creative expression. Through this nonprofit, I plan to start out with college student-led mentorship for these high school students. And these sessions will serve as a safe space for students to receive academic assistance, utilize the creative arts process, and essentially gain critical social emotional skills they need to thrive personally and professionally. Which is why our core values are empowerment, artistic growth, connectivity, and educational equity. We can see that existing successful programs such as Prismatic, Distill Arts, and Mindful Mentors further validates the effectiveness of structured mentorship. So what I'm doing with Lotuscend is expanding on the vision of mentorship through arts-based social-emotional learning, which hasn't been touched on too much yet. In addition to being culturally relevant and student-led, we act as another great opportunity to enhance the lives of students by providing a holistic and transformative program. By integrating the 5 social-emotional learning competencies and 4 artistic processes, these act as a critical component to closing the opportunity gap for students. This is an example of a weekly schedule where the module is working on self-management and grounding oneself. And also an example of a student's work, which might be from a grounding session or a one-on-one mentorship session. And Lotuscend currently has $750 in seed funding and plans to receive and maintain additional funding through grants, virtual campaigns, and sponsorships and college partnerships. And the way we'll be assessing the effectiveness of our mentorship program for these donors to recognize our importance is through increased graduation rate, improvement in academic performance, and positive behavioral changes. So just from hosting virtual workshops and gaining feedback, I found that students are indeed interested in these types of services, especially when it's led by college students. Even professionals and established organizations have recognized the value in supporting Lotuscend. And that has led to my current mentors, which are Christina Fontanelli and Darnell Leatherwood, and my partnership with Students Without Limits. So what started off as just an idea from joining Zero2One has blossomed into a realistic social venture that I was able to pitch at 3-day startup and won fourth place, conduct virtual workshops for, get accepted into incubator programs. And through all of these experiences, I plan to launch a revised program for Title I schools and continue scaling. So hopefulness and transcendence, two words that now ring true to the essence of my character. In order to escape the boundaries set by poverty, I've learned to face difficult situations in a creative way by pouring my emotions into works of art. And in doing so, I furthered my artistic abilities alongside fostering a fascination for psychology. So through Lotuscend, I want to apply my knowledge from these domains to help others overcome their struggles and embrace their inner light.
Thank you, Marjorie. Next up, we have Nithya's Venture, and Nithya's Venture is a teletext helpline for students on campus. Nithya, you can take it from here.
Oh, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good to go.
When I was a fifth grader, I thought all my friends were happy. As we played in the tall, lush grass and I saw the smiles on everyone's faces, I was perfectly content with the world we lived in. But as I went from middle school to high school, all the way to college, a dark reality started to unveil itself. The truth was, some of my dearest and closest friends had silently struggled with their mental health for years. Once the initial shock wore away, I learned an important lesson about privilege. Privilege was not just having a roof over your head or coming from a wealthy family. Privilege was being ignorant of the fact that thousands and millions of people across the world were silently suffering every single day. It was at this point that I committed myself to help in any way I could with all the resources and capabilities at my disposal to maybe, just maybe, ease the pain of those I love the most. According to the American Health Association, the number of students at U of I who seriously considered suicide in 2019 is 6,950. To put that into perspective, if any of you as a student have been in Follinger Auditorium on campus, imagine this massive auditorium which can seat at least 1,000 people, and now visualized 5 of these auditoriums full to the brim with people, and you'll start to understand the gravity of the issue and the extent to which students right on our very own campus suffer every single day. In contrast to this statistic is this: 1,820 is to 1. This is the ratio of students to counselors at U of I. For a campus with 50,000 plus students, there are only about 30 counselors on hand to help meet the needs of students. When I conducted a research study to garner student opinion on mental health infrastructure, some of the reasons students cited for being extremely unhappy with mental health resources on campus were high wait times, ambiguity about resources, and a scarcity of counselors. The fundamental problem was that there was not enough mental health funding going into public universities. And interestingly, another issue was that rural campuses like U of I had difficulty attracting counselors and professionals to come and work on their campuses. Overall, this led to a scarcity of counselors, higher wait times, and demoralized students. So here's what I propose. Impressed by the crisis text line, I plan to implement a distress text line on the U of I campus. When I researched, I saw that UIUC had a 24/7 hotline for those at direct risk of suicide, but for students at lower level risk, there were no high quality telehealth options that existed. The distress text line aims to provide free, immediate online support for students who cannot access counselors, but specifically for students who are not at direct risk of suicide. The most important part of this is that the distress text line will act as a pipeline to university resources. It will be the gap between the students and the university and will help raise awareness by linking students directly to university resources that they might not have known about. Lastly, this venture is a community effort. I aspire to bring the UIUC student community together by using highly trained student volunteers in my model. People with social anxiety, people in environments with little privacy, or people who are just ashamed of their feelings may prefer a text line because they don't have to speak. As summarized well by a participant of my research study, the advantages of text, number one, is that you get more privacy. There's some students who are not in the environment where they feel comfortable talking face-to-face with someone or over the phone. In this situation, text can be a non-invasive way for them to get the support they need. In addition, text enables the user to have a higher comfort level, and as a New York Times report has shown, people tend to be more honest on text. Lastly, text as a medium helps us have greater efficiency when it comes to management. The difference between the crisis text line and the distress text line I aim to implement is that the crisis text line is national and for all levels of risk, including those at direct risk of suicide. By contrast, the distress text line will be local to university, not intended for those at higher levels of risk, like those at risk of suicide, and is not marketed as a long-term substitute for professional care. You might get the question, then why bother even having a local helpline when there's a national helpline that already exists? The reason is that one cannot undervalue the importance of a grassroots level community effort when it comes to fighting the mental health crisis. Another reason is that you will more likely be able to better adapt to a local demographic and their specific needs. Some important aspects of a text helpline include confidentiality, helpline management software, and getting texter feedback. Although this project is in its initial stages, I have the confidence that with the right people on my team and the right amount of care and planning, we can definitely get this project running by fall 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Nithya. If the panel is ready, we shall move on to the next venture. And next up, we have Anushka and Tori's venture, Eclectic. It is a multifunctional fashion app. Anushka, if you want to take it from here.
Yeah, I think Tori is sharing.
Yeah, just give me 1 second here. Everyone can see my screen, right? All good. Okay. So I remember sitting in class with my friend, and she had pulled up a Google Doc, and she had taken pictures of all the clothing that she was going to take with her while she went and studied abroad. And she was turning these into outfits. And this is what people resorted to, was taking pictures and putting them on Google Docs to plan for trips. And with that, how many times have you gone to your closet and you've tried on so many different outfits, but none of them seem to really work? And now you're wondering where your favorite top is that you wore like 2 years ago, and it's nowhere to be found. And the more that you're looking at your closet, the more you're realizing that it's probably all the same mall brands. So Eclectic itself means deriving ideas, style, or taste from a broad and diverse range of sources. And for this example, it's your closet. And our solution is Eclectic, and it is a multifunctional fashion app that specializes in digital outfit creation, digital closet keeping, and then personalized shopping, so that brands that you want to look for that suit your style, needs, and price are there for you. And with that, I am Tori. I am the acting CEO.
And I am Manushka, and I am the acting CTO and the app developer.
So, is there a market for this? Yes, there is a 100% a market for this, with clothing being the second most purchased item in online shopping. And the clothing industry is expected to grow consistently for the next 10 years. And then with that, also retail sales, despite COVID, clothing in the US made almost $400 billion. And as we can see in the graphs below, where smartphone retail commerce is expected to also drastically increase over the next 4 years. And we've decided to test our market by developing a prototype that we believe would be attractive to our target market.
So we've actually been starting to develop the app and the front end design. We are close to being done with the front end design, and we will soon be developing a working model where users can actually use our app and test it. So here's our MVP plan. So we've created most of the front end design of the app and started coding all of it. And then we'll also be making it so that users can start testing. So how will we make money off of this app? So one of our revenue streams will be brand revenue partnerships, where brands who are featured on our app will pay a small fee. But we are also looking into subscription models and advertisement models, which is widely used by our competitors. So our short-term goals are to build the first version of the app in both Apple and Android, and also start testing the app so that we can test the market a little bit more. We'll also start partnering with small brands so that we can start making some revenue off of the app, and also partnering with micro influencers so that we can start marketing our app that way. We've also been applying to startup accelerator programs so that we can start getting some financial aid. Our long-term goals for our app is to implement a social media feature so that users can share their closet and pictures straight from our app, and also sell clothes from our app. So here's our tentative calendar for the next 5 months. And as you can see, we'll be working on our app and also creating a more detailed business plan.
So currently the fashion industry is transitioning rapidly in the direction of online sales, with malls on the decline and the impact from COVID. It's inevitable that fashion will continue to grow as an e-commerce giant. Our app intends to bridge the gap between consumer needs and online shopping by providing relevant content and a user-friendly experience. Eclectic, I believe, truly does have the potential to revolutionize the fashion industry in a way that we've never seen before. Thank you.
Thank you, Eclectic. If everyone is ready, we can move on to the next venture. And next we have Elizabeth's venture, which is a shampoo to replace traditional plastic bottle shampoo. Elizabeth, the floor is yours.
Over 552 million plastic shampoo bottles end up in landfills every year. Plastic is a huge problem, and I think it's one that is easy for us to feel removed from because we don't always directly see the effects. But plastics can take up to 1,000 years to break down in landfills, and a lot of plastic ends up in our oceans and kills marine life. In fact, by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. The existing solution to this problem, recycling, isn't enough. Only 9% of plastic ever made has been recycled. The real solution is to substitute single-use plastic products with plastic-free alternatives. Unfortunately, there are very few plastic-free alternatives to traditional bottled shampoo on the market, and current plastic-free solutions can be messy and a hassle to use. That's why I've created shampoo cubes. This is what it looks like. Each one is good for one hair wash, and how it works is when you get in the shower, you wet your hair just like you normally would to wash it, and then you take one of the cubes, you get it wet, you rub it between your hands until it turns into a rich foam, and then you can apply it to your hair and rinse it out like you would with normal shampoo. Most bottled shampoos are 80 to 90% water. Why are we paying for what's already in our shower? By eliminating the water and creating a concentrated shampoo with only essential ingredients, there is no longer a need for the plastic bottle. Even better, my shampoo is free of SLS, DMDM, and other harmful ingredients found in traditional shampoos. And unlike many of the solid shampoos currently on the market, which are actually made of soap, my shampoo cubes are real shampoo, just without the water. In creating my formula, I selected vegan, palm-free, and high-quality ingredients. First, I chose a blend of coconut-derived surfactants. Surfactants are the ingredients in shampoos that actually clean your hair. A good shampoo will have a blend of a few different surfactants. If a shampoo has only 1 or 2 surfactants, it can be too drying and irritating, so I chose 3. After choosing my surfactants, I chose nourishing add-ins that add a plethora of benefits to hair. They moisturize, add shine, soften the hair, reduce frizz, and control dandruff. How I plan to sell this is through a website. Your first order will come in a lightweight refillable glass jar of 60 cubes, and then customers will have the option to subscribe to receive compostable refill packs every 2, 4, 6, or 12 months, depending on the frequency with which they wash their hair. And then for the market, I'm first going to target practitioners of the zero waste movement. If you aren't familiar, the zero waste movement is a movement of people who seek to reduce their waste, and most of them are looking to go completely plastic free. So I'll start by targeting them, and then expand to environmentalists, frequent travelers, because this product is great for traveling, and just other conscious consumers. And I also think this could be a great option for hotel rooms. The state of California has enacted a law that will take effect in 2023, banning travel-sized bottles from hotels, and other states are following suit. So hotels will be looking for new ways to supply guests with small quantities of shampoo. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity there. And now on to competition. So first we have traditional bottled shampoo, which we've already established is bad for the environment and typically contains ingredients that are bad for your hair. Next, we have shampoo bars, which are the most common plastic-free alternative, and there are several companies selling these. I actually originally set out to create a better shampoo bar, so I did a lot of research on shampoo bars, and through that I learned about many of the disadvantages of shampoo bars. First, many companies are selling soap bars as shampoo bars, and the pH of these bars is way too high, and it's extremely damaging to hair. And with a few companies that are selling shampoo bars made of actual shampoo ingredients, there's still issues. It's hard to dry the bar out between uses, which makes them mushy and messy, as well as challenging to travel with. And a lot of people don't enjoy rubbing a bar directly under their head, which is what many shampoo bar companies recommend. So then finally, when I thought of this idea for the shampoo cube, I thought someone's got to be doing this. So I searched online, and the only company I came across was this Canadian company called Earthsuds. They aren't really up and operating yet. They're still taking pre-orders. And while the premise of their product is the same, it works a little bit differently. Theirs is a tablet, so you have to crush theirs up and then mix it with water in order to use it, which I'm assuming is messy. And also their product comes in a flat cardboard box, which isn't practical for the bathroom. And they're also focusing more on hotels, while I'm focusing more on individual consumers. So for my timeline, next month I want to focus on perfecting my formula. The shampoo I have now works really well as a shampoo, but it doesn't lather up quick enough. So I'm working on that. And then I want to give it to friends and family to test and get feedback. And I want to kind of come up with a name and a brand identity. And then I want to start using social media to acquire customers. And then in March, I want to start selling on Etsy or Shopify, start working on a website, and develop a conditioner formula for all hair types. And then in April, I want to launch the website, focus on building a brand and a strong social media presence, and start working on shampoo and conditioner formulas for different hair types. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's move on to our last venture for today by Wanjun. Wanjun, if you want to take it from here.
Hi, sorry, my Zoom lagged a bit. Wait. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'll start. So how many of you guys, regardless if you're in Illinois or not, you wear your favorite shoes or some white shoes or something, and then the weather suddenly got terrible because it's Illinois, or the weather was originally terrible but you had to wear that shoes that day, and then after you came back after your day outside, your house suddenly become messy because of that terrible weather, or your shoes just got dirty and then you got annoyed. Please like react with some random emoji if you had this experience. Yeah, quite a few. I see that. So yeah, so target customers include a lot of these fashion sensitive groups for sure, but it's definitely targeted to a lot of regular people like all of you guys too. And then another target group I have in my mind is parents. For example, moms who obviously cares about cleaning the houses and keeping the houses clean as well. And then speaking of my mom used to tell me, take off your shoes before you come into my house. That's like what she always told me when I was young. And then speaking of my mom, obviously Asian households where we have a culture of taking off our shoes before you enter the house. And then last but not least, people who are germophobic. This is something I felt after COVID-19 while I was doing my project with Covalence. From the senior house, I think one of the directors said, "Oh, I hope there's this box that can clean everything and then sterilizes everything if you just simply put it in." And I decided to take this into account and then include the sterilization feature into my machine. So what is my machine? According to market research I did, people feel about their shoes getting dirty is they don't really feel too much about it. They feel neutral. The other half don't care. Other people care. And then, but when I presented that if there is a machine that takes care of your shoes automatically, they said they'll most likely willing to try it at least. So my solution is a machine that keeps your shoes fresh and clean using daily routines. So this is basically how it looks like in terms of hardware structure, mechanical structure. Basically having rotational fan and then heating element in front of it, and then kind of circulating the air into it, and also UV light to sterilize the product. And I'll go into my prototype version 1. This is how it currently looks like. Unfortunately, we don't have that organized electronics right now. This is something we're working on currently, but you can kind of see, the fan and heating unit, and then the UV light here, and then it will go to another fan right here. So as you can all see, the UV light hits like almost all area of the container, and then the heating units, according to our testing, it can go up to 50 degrees Celsius. And then this is significant because according to some research papers that we referred to, the COVID-19 virus loses its infectivity under influence of 50-degree environment for 15 minutes. So I believe this machine also has potential to sterilize COVID-19 viruses, and then also, of course, takes care of its original purpose of cleaning your shoes and then taking care of it. For now, it's only able to dry it and then sterilize it, but for the future, we're currently under developing of how to clean the shoes more effectively. So is there a market for this? Yes. So obviously global sterilization service market is rapidly growing market currently. If you take a look at this chart, North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, those major continents have evenly distributed demand for a global sterilization product. And if you take a look at the end user, it ranges from big organizations to obviously the small household organizations, because I don't know, I'm paranoid about my phone getting contaminated by viruses. But according to Transparency Market Research, the global sterilization market shall rise from 3.1 billion market to 5.7 billion market by the end of 2027. So this suggests that sterilization market is expected to grow even after the COVID virus. And I believe the Soulmate can have that unique niche of being sterilization product to the unique type of cleaning product that ranges somewhere up till washing machine. And how we're trying to sell this product is utilizing our e-commerce platform and our website. This is also currently under development, but we're planning to launch initial batch of perhaps our first distributed product through our website, and perhaps partnering through other e-commerce sites. Here's our timeline for it. So February, we were planning to continue the R&D of cleaning method, just to make sure how we can effectively clean the shoes that's varying from different types of a material. And then we are also trying to organize electronics using custom PCBs. And then after this is done, we'll start testing for the specific numbers through germ testing to see how many % of germs were actually sterilized, and then how long the shoes needs to be exposed under our controlled environment to actually dry. By the March, we hopefully finish the R&D of cleaning method, and then by April, we'll hopefully start to manufacture second MVP and start thinking about how to make it more aesthetically pleasing for our first initial release to market. And by the May, we're planning to test and gain feedback of our second MVP. And thank you so much.
Thank you, June. So that concludes all of our pitches today. So thank you to everyone who sort of listened through that. So now we're just going to be opening up breakout rooms. We're going to put each of the ventures into a single breakout room. Advisors, alumni, and esteemed guests, you guys are more than welcome to come into the individual breakout rooms and give some of our ventures their feedback. Just sort of like what you liked about it, as well as, you know, some of the stuff that they can work on. Because I think like going forward, they really want to grow and sort of like go ahead with their projects. So I think it's really important, and they're really looking to you guys for that. So without further ado, if you guys could just comment in the chat box, just sort of like who you would like to speak to first. Tina, if you can go back a slide. So this is the list of people that we have. So just to recap, Marjorie was the social entrepreneurship venture. Nithya's was the mental health app. Tori and Nushka's was Eclectic. Elizabeth was Cube Shampoo, and June's was Soulmate. So just advisors and esteemed guests, if you guys could just put in the chat as well, like where you'd like to go first. I'll open the rooms now. Okay. So Kieran. Yep. Policy. Yep, so Kieran and Paul, you've been assigned. So please go ahead and join those. Danny and Professor Kaylin, are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here. I'll write it in the chat.
Okay.
Are we allowed to tell you which one we want to go to?
Yeah, exec members and other 0 to 1 members who are also here, you guys are more than welcome as well. I believe, Peter, you have assignment rights as well. So if you just want to hop in and hop out, that's fine too.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Wait, sorry, can I also choose like which one I want to go? Or like
yeah, of course. Just you guys comment in the chat, and then I'll try to get everyone assigned. Tina, if you want to help me out, that would be great as well.
Okay, I'd like to go to Nithya's, please.
Okay, sounds good.
If I'm able to move.
I couldn't hear that. Did someone say something?
I don't think I.
Oh,
thank you.
I mean, most states will probably follow suit, and then you have this whole market, right?
Yeah.
I was curious so I know you did talked about competition and what else exists.
Mhm.
And it feels like a space that is getting some traction, right? There is a lot of players in this field. Do you ever watch Shark Tank?
Mhm.
Have you seen the, I don't know what season it was, but there's someone with little toothpaste.
Oh, Bite, yeah. So that's really similar. This is almost like Bite with shampoo.
Yeah,
So-
but and so it does seem like there are other players in the field.
Mhm.
And I know you talked about your competition.